Hello friends, welcome to Bankers Zone. Here we will be discussing the next part. See the National Institution for the Transforming India. And it stands for the NITI Aayog. What is NITI Aayog? We have discussed it is replaced the Planning Commission in India. Okay, now see full form of NITI Aayog you remember first. It is the National Institution NITI for the Transforming India. NITI for National Institution for the Transforming India. Now see, it is established in the January 1st, 2015 by the NDA government or Modi-led government by the resolution of the Union Cabinet to replace the Planning Commission. Okay, what it has replaced? NITI Aayog has replaced the Planning Commission, and NITI Aayog is working as the think tank offering the policy suggestion to the government. Okay, so now see privatization of the bank. Okay, privatization of the banks. This is also suggestion given by the NITI Aayog. This is given by the NITI Aayog to the government. Okay, so now you can easily correlate. Okay, now the creation of a NITI Aayog is focused on the two hubs. Okay, there are two hubs which they have mainly focused. First, there is a Team India, and second is knowledge and the innovation hub. So what are that two hubs? First, Team India, and second is knowledge and the innovation. Okay, these are the two hubs. Apart from that, you can see here Team India hub coordinate the state involvement. Okay, what happens? The Team India hub, the first hub, coordinate state involvement with central government, while the knowledge hub and the innovation hub strengthens the NITI Aayog's think tank capability. Obviously, you can easily correlate. Team India means building the team, so coordination of a central government with a different state governments, right? Knowledge and hub means obviously knowledge, right? So it is nothing but the think tank capacity increasing, so it is very easy to remember. Now see, NITI Aayog is chaired by the Prime Minister. Okay, and governing council of NITI Aayog is made up of the chairperson. Okay, then ex officio members of the NITI Aayog, vice chairperson will be there, full-time members are there. Along with that, chief minister of the states are also there. In case of the UT, like Andaman and Nicobar, governor of that UT will be there, and special invitee of NITI Aayog will be in the governing council of the NITI Aayog. So here, what you remember, the takeaway bits that see here. First, what it is established in 2015, it is acting as the think tank. Okay, it is having two hubs mainly: Team India for coordination, knowledge and innovation for strengthening the think tank capacity. It is chaired by the prime ministers. Okay, and a chief minister of all states are also part of the NITI Aayog. Okay, now see functions of the NITI Aayog. What are the functions of the NITI Aayog? To develop a shared vision of national development priority sectors and strategy. So obviously, national development is one of the important function. Create strategic and long-term policy and program framework, which is the main objective. Apart from that, to promote the cooperative federalism. That means they have included all the chief minister of different states in the NITI Aayog. So there is a scope for cooperative federalism, to increase or promote the cooperative federalism. Apart from that, to create the procedures for developing viable plans. So they have to develop some plans, right? That mainly for a village level, and gradually that plan they will implement for the higher levels. Okay, and that should be viable plans. To ensure the national security consideration, they are included the economic strategy. So they are not only promoting the federalism or the planning, they are also considering the national security aspects. To establish the collaborative network. So if they need, they can collaborate with the other national or the international bodies or the specialist. Apart from that, they can monitor and access or assess the program and the initiative. That means whatever the program they have implemented, they are going to monitor. They will check it whether it is working properly. Some enhancement needed, they can interfere like that. Apart from that, there is a to concentrate on the technological advances and capacity building to carry out the additional action that may be required. So these are some functions, or you can say objective of the NITI Aayog. Now see the case for the NITI Aayog. Why basically NITI Aayog came into picture? Remember, it has been replaced by the replaced to the Planning Commission. So according to the assumptions, Planning Commission not in tune with the new development strategy. Okay, this was the first reason. Second, Planning Commission is out of sync with the current development. So that's why the government has assumed this, and due to this they replaced the Planning Commission with the NITI Aayog. Okay, now promoting the accountability. Okay, one of the major challenge for the NITI Aayog is to increase the accountability in the system. There was no responsibility in Planning Commission. NITI Aayog, on the other hand, has established the Development Monitoring and Evaluation Offices. Okay, and that collect the data of the performance of several ministry in the real time, and that data is then utilized to establish the accountability and enhance the performance. So okay, there was one criticism about the Planning Commission. They are not in tune with the current development, or they are out of the sync with the current strategy. And that's why NITI Aayog has came into picture, and to promote the accountability is one of the important aspects of the NITI Aayog, right? And to increase the accountability, they have established the office called as the Development Monitoring and Evaluation Office, and that office basically evaluates the ongoing ministries. Apart from that, promoting innovation, the key government think tank working on numerous developmental issue in the NITI Aayog, right? So Atal Mission Yojana, or we can say simply here Atal Innovation Mission. It is the Atal Innovation Mission, which is also the part of the NITI Aayog as of June 2022. It has constructed over than 9,500 Atal Tinkering Lab. It is not thinking, remember, it is the Tinkering Lab in the school around the country. It has also established a 68 Atal Incubation Center to support the young innovators and their startups. So it is good initiative. Okay, remember, it is important for exam point of view. Remember, first bit you remember here, Atal Innovation Mission. The Atal Innovation Mission, it is a part of NITI Aayog. Okay, it is a part of the NITI Aayog. Apart from that, see what is the work done by it. The work done by it is they have established tinkering labs. Okay, 9500 Atal Tinkering Labs have introduced in the schools, and 68 incubation center, and that center will be helping for the startups. Okay, it is very important. Now we'll move to the next. Now see here, NITI Aayog strategy at 75. Okay, so what is strategy? See, in December 2018, NITI Aayog published its comprehensive national strategy. Okay, and it is for the new India, including clear objective for 2023. Okay, so basically the strategy given by the NITI Aayog when India was celebrating the 75th independence year, right? So it is a full exposition spanning 41 critical area that recognizes the previous accomplishment, and the document of 41 chapters are divided into 4 sections. Okay, basically you see here one document published by NITI Aayog when India is celebrating at 75 years of independence. Okay, and the document is having 41 critical area they have identified. In that document there is 41 chapters, and that 41 chapters is having 4 sections. Like, so 41 chapters having 4 sections. That 4 sections are nothing but the drivers, infrastructure, inclusion, and the governance. Okay, you got the document which published when India celebrating 75, consisting of the 4 sections called driver, infrastructure, inclusion, and the governance, and having 41 critical area they have identified. Okay, well, one by one we'll discuss the that is sections. Okay, now see drivers. Okay, so the first section on drivers focuses the engine of economic performance. Means driver means these are the basically engine which drive the economy. These are the engine which drive the economy. Okay, in this way they have given the name drivers. Okay, now with the chapter on the growth and employment, doubling the farmer income, upgrading the science, technology and innovation in the ecosystem, promoting sunrise sectors. It is like a fintech and tourism. Okay, so basically what is driver? Drivers are nothing but the engines of the economy who drive the economy. So for that purpose they have targeted doubling of the farmers income, right? Apart from that, give boost to the sunrise sectors. Okay, now in there are some key recommendation in the section of a driver. What are that? We will just go through it. See, to achieve the GDP growth rate about 8% and to make it a 4 trillion economy. So this is one of the key recommendation. Why? What? The GDP growth rate to achieve is 8% targeted and economy making $4 trillion. Now, to increase the tax to GDP ratio 22% of the GDP, okay, by 2023 and from 17% in 2018. Okay, so whatever the taxes Indian government collects with respect to the GDP of the country, that should be 22% is the target. Currently in 2018 it is only 70%. So out of so you can see how huge taxes collection is there, right? So they have also targeted to increase the tax collection 22% of the GDP by 2023. Now, continue to exit the government from the non-strategic public sector unit. It is very, very important. And further liberalizing the FDI regime. What do you mean by that? See, exit of the government from non-strategic public sector unit means, see, they have privatized. The government has privatized IDBI bank. Okay, government is planning to again further privatize 2 more public sector banks, and they have strategy to keep only 2 banks in the public sector for the purpose of strategic scheme implementation. So they want to private, they have planned, the NITI Aayog has a recommendation that government should sell their units, for example bank, insurance or other industry like oil companies. Okay, so you can correlate yourself with the recommendation. What is recommendation? Non-strategic public sector units should be sold out. So in another word, non-strategic public unit, government should take a exit from the non-strategic public sector unit. Okay, to convert the farmer to agripreneurs, like entrepreneur, we call entrepreneur like. So that NITI Aayog is now saying, don't we will change the farmer, to the agripreneur. Okay, like entrepreneur. Okay, good. Now by further expanding the national agriculture markets, that is NIM, national agriculture markets, and replacing the APMC act. You know, and there was the farmers on the protest in the Delhi against that 3 contract farming laws. So these were some of the part of that recommendation. They want to replace the APMC act by the 3 farmers contract act on the recommendation of NITI Aayog, but due to the huge protest that plan has been dropped for the time being. Okay, now they want to replace the, according to the NITI Aayog recommendation, agriculture APMC act, Agriculture Produce Marketing Committee Act, they want to replace. Okay, apart from that, the promoting the zero budget natural farming. So there is also one of the recommendation, replacing the commission on the agriculture cost prices. Okay, well, there is one commission called as the agriculture cost and prices. Okay, that is called as the CACP, that should be replaced by a agriculture tribunal. Okay, so this is the recommendation. To ensure maximum employment creation, complete codification of the labor law. What do you mean by codification of the labor law? See, codification of labor law means changing the labor law. Okay, So what is labor law? These are the law basically which are also applicable for the bank employees. Okay, NITI Aayog is saying that you change code. See, name is different. Codification. Basically, codification is nothing but the altering the laws, changing the law. Here also you can see the word exit from the sectors, right? Non-strategic public sector units exit. That means basically selling or privatization, right? So you can easily in this way remember. Okay, now why this codification in the labor law? So basically there is demand from the corporates, and obviously government is thinking their demands and they want to change some laws. Okay, now launch a mission to explore in India. See, basically when there was a rule in India by the Congress-led government, Congress was not truly, but they were very soft, and they were following the policy of say Soviet Union, Russia. Okay, and it was the socialist country, right? So maximum they are having favor laws in the favor of the laborers. Okay, so those who are organized labor, they are getting their benefits. Okay, so they don't want it. So codification of the labor laws. Apart from that, the launch a mission called as the Explore in India. Okay, so by revamping the mineral exploitation or a mineral exploration and licensing policy. So there is a mission launch called as the Explore in India. Okay, so this is the recommendation by the NITI Aayog in the driver section. Now see the second section, infrastructure. The second section on the infrastructure is having 11 chapters, and they have a recommendation in this head as, see, establish the Rail Development Authority. So there will be new entity called as the Rail Development Authority, doubling the share of freight transport by coastal shipping and the inland waterways. So this is also one of the important good initiative. Basically they want to increase the freight transport as per the recommendation, and coastal shipping and inland waterways they have to increase. Okay, see in that current government with the NITI Aayog recommended, the transport ministry is working very good. Transport ministry, they have done very impressive work in the country. Now the developing an IT enabled platform for integrating different model of a transport. Okay, so what do you mean by IT enabled platform? Basically integrate different mode of transport means they will integrate a railway with some bus services or other services using the IT. Okay, this is the recommendation with the completion of the BharatNet program. What is the BharatNet program? Remember, it is important. See, BNP, BharatNet program, in 2019 they have started, and around 2.5 lakh gram panchayat, 2.5 lakh gram village office, that is called as gram panchayats, they want to connect that digitally, so that whatever the facility is available, it may be the healthcare or other facility that can be easily available in the rural area or villages. That is main objective. 2.5 lakh gram panchayat they want to connect globally, digitally. Okay, if we digitally connected using the internet, it is connected globally. Okay, remember BNP. Okay, now the inclusion. The next section is inclusion. So this session on inclusion deals with the urgent task. Okay, remember this deals with what? This deals with the urgent task. What are the recommendations? See, Ayushman Bharat program, including the establishment of 1,50,000 health wellness center across the country. Okay, rolling out the Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Abhiyan. So what they have recommended, again implement Ayush Bharat program and Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Abhiyan, upgrading the quality of school education, the school education system and the skills, including the creation of a new innovation ecosystem at a ground level by establishing at least 10,000 Atal Tinkering Lab. Okay, so it is a good recommendation. We have just discussed previously about the Atal Innovation Centers. Then electronic national education registry, they want to they have said to recommend to create for to track the children's learning outcome. Okay, providing push to the affordable housing in the urban area. Okay, for that they will go for the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. Okay, so these are the recommendations. Now in the inclusion, Now next is the governance. The fourth and final section is the governance. Okay, on in that they are saying on governance some of the key recommendation. What are the recommendations? See, set up a new setting the new autonomous bodies. If required, they will set the new autonomous bodies. Addressing the backlog of pending cases, shift part of workload out of a regular court system. So they have addressed basically lot of court cases are pending. So they have addressed in the section of governance about the pending cases, okay, in the court. Then expanding the scope of Swachh Bharat mission to cover the initiative of landfills, plastic waste and municipal waste, and the gathering wealth from the waste. So this is also one of the important mission they have covered. So remember here, how can you remember the bit? What you have to remember? See, in inclusion, which issue they have addressed, which scheme? Mainly Ayushman Bharat and Atal mission by the way of a tinkering lab. Okay, remember. In case of the governance, what issue addressed? Swachh Bharat mission is addressed. Okay, that means basically recommendations on that given. Apart from that, see the financial resources for economic plan. What are the financial resources we are having for the planning purpose? See, we are having three main resources. See, basically, see, if you have to do some plan, what you need first? You need money, right? So that is nothing but the financial resources. Resource means what? What you have. See, if I want to write, what resource I need? I need the pen, right? I need my hand itself, right? So this is simply resource means the things that you are having. Now for what are the financial resources? That means basically how you get the money, how we get the money. Financial resource means how we get money for the planning. See, by the way of domestic budgetary sources, by the way of a budget, simply by the way of a budget. Apart from that, deficit financing. Deficit financing, since see, if your income is for example 10 rupees, still you can spend 15 rupees, so minus 5 rupees will be their deficit. That is allowed, okay. Then apart from that, foreign assistance. So India received a donation or the aid from say Russia of say $10 million that can be used for the planning purpose. So these are three basic sources of fund for the India. That is nothing but the financial sources for the economic planning. Now domestic sources. What are the domestic budget? Budget means what? You may listening the word budget means what? Taxation is the one of the most significant domestic budgetary resource for the fund. Okay, so see, government collect the taxes, okay, tax, right? So the taxes been used by the government for the purpose of spending. It may be for the purpose of a salary, or it may be for the purpose of the development or different plans. Okay, so tax is one of the important source for the revenue to the government. So you see here, what is revenue and what is the capital? Okay, revenue, income and capital income for the government. Okay, so revenue means, see, it is due to the like for example tax is revenue, and capital income means if government sell the any bank, for example say IDBI bank, okay, and due to the selling of IDBI bank shares, government got some money, say $500, something $5,000, any amount. So that amount is nothing but the capital gain for the government. Okay, that is called as the capital gain or capital income. The money government got by the way of taxes is the revenue. It is a part of revenue. Okay, simple. Now aside from the revenue, additional domestic fiscal resources like a public borrowing or a small saving or the public enterprise surplus means what? Public borrowing means what? See, small saving. See, you invest in the PPF account. Okay, PPF, government can use that fund. Okay, and you are and it is locked around for 15 years. Okay, so government can use that fund for 15 years. Okay, and you will get after 15 years. So PPF government using. Then even say gold bond. Okay, sovereign gold bond, you purchase it, government will get money from from RBI, government getting money, right? And that bond you purchase. Okay, your money go to the government for the purpose indirectly, and if you want to redeem, government again give you. Okay, so these are the way by which government raises fund. Okay, that we will be discussing detail in the last unit, last module. Okay, apart from that, what is deficit financing? it happen when income is less than the expenditure. Means you are earning 10 rupees, you are spending 15 rupees, so 5 rupees you are in minus. The minus is also allowed for the budgetary to run the country. That is called as the deficit financing. The different type of deficit financing are borrow from the public or the foreign government. How can it? They can borrow from the government, or even foreign. They can take a loan from foreign government. They can take a loan from IMF, World Bank. Also, a government can withdraw the cash balance from the RBI. Okay, how? See, if government has some deposit with RBI, okay, government has deposit with RBI in the form of say cash deposit. Government can withdraw that. Right? And generally, withdrawing it, government will publish or publish the new currency notes. Okay, generally this is the practice. Borrowing from the RBI directly, they can borrow from the RBI, right? Now, in the how? By the way of ways and means advance. It is called as WMA, ways and means advance. Now, foreign assistance. So, receiving foreign direct investment, FDI, and also India has been accessing the fund from the World Bank. Okay, so these are the way for the financial resources. Now, let's come to the summary of this unit. We have discussed here the what do you mean by planning. We have discussed, right? So planning is nothing but the it is important component for the economy. Okay, it is carried out in many levels. Okay, so that we have discussed. India has a centralized planning, which we follow the centralized planning. How? By the way of union budget. Okay, now the planning commission is replaced by the NITI Aayog, and planning commission was functioning since 1950. Depending on the goal, planning may be categorized into several types. There are several types you can have for the planning. For a territorial standpoint, it may be regional or national planning. For a political, it may be the federal, state, or the local. So in this way, we can classify. Okay. So for a temporal standpoint, we can have the long-term or the short-term planning. So planning is having basically different types that we have already discussed. Apart from that, we discussed the NITI Aayog, National Institution for the Transforming India. It is also called as NITI Aayog. Okay, started in 2015 by the NDA Modi-led government. Then NITI Aayog is chaired by the Prime Minister, that we discussed. And what is the governing council, that also discussed. Apart from that, in 2018, NITI Aayog published the National Strategy for New India, when India is celebrating 75 years. Okay, which is a full exposition. See, the document which NITI Aayog has published is have the 41 critical area and 4 section it is having, that we have discussed in detail. That sections were driver, infrastructure, inclusion, and the governance, and 41 chapter it includes. Now see, India, there are 3 key sources for the funds. Okay, what are the sources of funds available? By the way of a budget, by the way of a deficit financing, and by the way of a foreign assistance, that we discussed just. Taxation is one of the important and the most significant for the budgetary resources. So major of the part that government get money in the form of tax only. Okay, and through that different government runs different schemes. Okay, now let's go through some sample questions. Which among the following contribute most to the plan financing? So plan financing is nothing but the planning, right? So it obviously budget. So domestic budgetary sources. Okay, now who is the chairman of NITI Aayog? Obviously the Prime Minister is the chairman of the NITI Aayog. Okay, we learn it. Now it is the Prime Minister Narendra Modi is the chairman of the NITI Aayog. Okay, so in this way you can expect the questions in your examinations. Okay, so here we will wind up and we'll continue our discussion in the next session. Meanwhile, you should subscribe our YouTube channel Bankers Zone. You can download the application for learning purpose. Bankers Zone JAIIB is the name of the app. You can download it from the link in the description. Happy learning, friends.